Hello, I'm Michael Sullivan, author of a statistics series and a developmental math series with Pearson Education. I am also co-author of a pre-calculus series with my father, Michael Sullivan. Today, I'd like to talk to you about the inverted classroom, or flipping the classroom. How long do you think your students maintain attention during your lectures, or during any lecture for that matter? There was a study done in 2010 in which introductory chemistry students were asked to report their awareness of attention lapses by pressing their clickers. It was found that students can experience a lapse of concentration as soon as 4.5 to 5.5 minutes into a lecture. Towards the end of the lecture, attention would lapse about every 2 minutes. Electrodermal activity, EDA, reflects activity that increases one's heart rate, blood pressure, and sweating. Changes in EDA are associated with alterations in arousal, cognition, and attention. A mobile device that measures EDA was attached to a college student. The graph on the screen reflects EDA for various activities of the student throughout the day. What do you notice? In particular, look at day 4, where we can see that the student initially is participating in some lab time, and then is watching TV where the EDA levels are extremely low. Then the student starts studying and the EDA levels start to increase slightly. And then the student goes to sleep and has a big spike in EDA and then has some restful sleep. The student wakes up and attends class and has EDA levels that are equivalent to those of television. Note that when the student's involved in active types of activities, such as taking an exam or studying, the EDA levels are rather high, but when the student is participating in passive activities, such as watching television or in a classroom, the EDA levels are very low, indicating that the student does not have much interactivity with the material he or she is participating in. Both of those examples illustrate the reason that we need to change the lecture format. Here's one more reason. Let's say you give a brilliant lecture on a topic complete with enlightening examples. Students are engaged for the entire 50 minutes. The students leave the classroom saying, "Boy, I really get this stuff." Then the student gets home to dive into his or her homework. What happens? Inevitably, the student gets stuck, then frustrated, and often quits. Students show up the next day to class frustrated, and of course you attempt to answer questions, but must move on with your next brilliant lecture. "Sorry, Bobby, I have to move on so I can complete the syllabus." Historically, the classroom is the place where students receive content based on lectures on the material we expect them to learn as a part of our course. However, technology changes the traditional classroom model. Wouldn't it make more sense for students to partake in the passive activity of lecture through video at home when and where they want? Then, the classroom can be used for more active-based learning. The classroom can be used to explore ideas. The classroom can be used to develop conceptual understanding. The classroom can be used for peer-to-peer instruction. Frankly, the only limitation to the exciting things that can be done in the classroom is the imagination of the instructor and willingness to work only slightly outside of his or her comfort zone. After all, most of us instructors feel comfortable in the role of lecturer-in-chief. We are the sage on the stage, the master of our craft. We like the control we have over the classroom. Personally, I really enjoy the 60 eyeballs staring at me, listening to the words that come out of my mouth. It is a feeling of power, frankly. It is difficult to give this power up. However, the power of the student can be found in freeing the student of the chains of the lecture. I am learning this lesson more and more so today than I ever have. For the first time, I have completely eliminated the lectures from my classroom. That said, there is always opportunity for me to assume the role of sage on the stage in this format. Students will require me to elaborate on a topic. The big difference between traditional lecture and the flipped environment is that the questions students typically ask are based on their experience with the outside of class content. This means the questions tend to be more informed. It also means that I need to be able to address a variety of questions on the fly, and frankly, I find this very stimulating. Students come to our classes with the experience and expectation of the lecture model. They listen to a lecture, watch the instructor demonstrate a few examples, take notes on the lecture, and then go home to work the homework. Many students feel that the lecture of the professor as the expert is the product they are paying for and feel cheated if they do not get the lecture. The instructor gets pushback from students who believe they are shortchanging them. However, the skill that the instructor brings to the classroom is not only content knowledge, but the ability to elicit thought-provoking questions that challenge students and help them understand the material. Instructors are much more effective when each student comes to class with the experience from the videos and other external content. Again, student questions will be more informed and more insightful, resulting in an exciting class. It also provides the opportunity for peer-to-peer instruction, which has been shown to be an effective technique for improving student outcomes. That is the basic premise of the flipped classroom. The material that has traditionally been delivered in class lectures is now delivered at home. The material that was traditionally worked on by students at home, the homework, is done in the classroom. That said, there are many inverted or flipped models that are successful. I will talk a little about the model that I've been utilizing. I will begin by discussing the at-home aspect of the course and then discuss some of the in-class activities we do. One very important aspect of successful flipped classrooms is organizing the outside of class material. The main source of content in this model is video. However, video does not, in my humble opinion, should not represent the only source of content. One of the overarching goals of a collegiate education is to develop in students the ability to learn content independently. That is, we want to develop lifelong learners. To accomplish this goal, students need to develop the skill in which they learn content from a variety of sources, including print material and video. Therefore, the outside of class material should include both a print and a video component. The videos that you utilize need to be comprehensive. Personally, I use my author in action videos that are actual classroom lectures from previous semesters. This gives them the authenticity of a true classroom lecture. One of the study skills that students tend to lack is the ability to take copious, quality notes. Therefore, it is important that students have access to guided lecture notes that accompany the video content. In my courses, homework is assigned in two parts. Part 1 is a media assignment where students are required to watch video prior to gaining access to the homework problem. I follow that media assignment with the traditional homework assignment. However, I turn off View an Example as a learning aid so that students do not use this aid as a crutch in solving problems. I purposely create two assignments so that the students are not overwhelmed with the number of problems that must be completed. Each week, I develop learning goals for the week and create activities to help us achieve those goals. I don't always know how the day's lesson is going to turn out, and that is uncomfortable. But when I see the buzz generated by students discussing pre-calculus on a Monday morning, my apprehension subsides. Once students have content knowledge from their at-home activities, classroom time is used for a variety of in-class activities. Here are some examples. Learning catalytics. Learning catalytics is a bring-your-own-device student engagement, assessment, and classroom intelligence system. Basically, I assign problems to the students via Learning Catalytics to get a gauge as to their understanding of the at-home material. Classroom homework assignments. I break students into small groups. I require a leader, a recorder, and a speaker. The speaker is used to teach the class the ideas of the assignment. This develops the ability to work in small groups and develops the ability to communicate technical material verbally. I assign my groups randomly using our iCampus randomization tool that's in Canvas. The obvious question to ask about the flipped model is, how does it work? Success in a classroom may be defined in a variety of ways. There is retention. So far this semester, I have not had a single student drop to class. Very unusual. There is classroom attendance. Again, the results are encouraging. Attendance is almost always 100%. Why? If a student is not in class, the student does not gain access to the insightful content and activities. Plus, students earn points by submitting classroom assignments, doing activities, and answering learning catalytics questions. Lastly, there are exam results. The main thing that I have noticed with exam scores is that while my exam scores averages have increased only slightly, the standard deviation of scores is dropping. This suggests there is less dispersion in grades, so the techniques that I have implemented better help the at-risk student. After all, A students are going to get an A in most circumstances regardless of the efforts of the instructor, but weaker students definitely benefit from the flipped approach. I have been truly enjoying the flipped model and really enjoy the buzz in my class. Sometimes I have to wing it, but the outcome of each class is always positive.